All right, picking it back up at number 14, we are still solving inequalities here. So let me get my line. I would start by combining those x's. So 1 minus 4 is negative 3x plus 5 greater than 29. Subtract 5. Negative 3x is greater than 24. When you're solving an inequality, remember, when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, like I just did, I divided both sides by negative 3, I have to flip the sign the other direction. 24 divided by negative 3 is negative 8. So I want numbers less than negative 8. So let me graph that on the number line. So negative 8 in the middle, negative 7, negative 9. I want an open circle. Negative 8 is not a solution, so do not shade over that. The x sits on the left, so I can follow that like an arrow if I choose. But either way, its numbers less than negative 8, so you want to shade to the left. Number 15. Start by combining like terms. On the right side, 8 minus 3 is 5x's. And then 6x plus 15. I'm going to start by subtracting 5x to combine things on both sides. So 6 minus 5 is just 1. I'm just going to write x. And that'd be 7. And then subtract 15. So x is greater than, no need to flip the sign, negative 8. Clear that out so I can graph it. Okay, so here's the answer. Looks really similar to what we just did, except it's pointing the other way. So it's an open circle. Negative 8 is not a solution, except this time I want numbers greater than. So shade to the right. For 16, you want to start by distributing. Always do that first if you can. Be careful, distribute negative 2. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. People will mess up this sign. Negative 2 times a negative 6 is positive 12. And then you're going to combine those x's right there. 5 minus 2 is 3 x's. Okay, then subtract 12. So 3x is greater than or equal to 9. Divide by 3, and it's positive, so I do not need to flip the sign. So x is greater than or equal to 3. Now let's graph it. This would be a closed circle. You've got the or equal to, so 3 is a solution. And you want numbers greater than 3, so shade to the right. For 17, I want to write the inequality from the graph. So I always use x, and I always put it on the left. The circle is above negative 3, so that's like your number that divides the solutions and the non-solutions. You're not going to have the or equal to line underneath your symbol because it is an open circle. And I see from the shading, I want numbers that are bigger than negative 3. So x has to be greater than negative 3. And guys, if you write x on the left, you can just point the sign the way that the shading's going, so to the right, but that would be your answer. All right, these directions got a little weird here. They're kind of a page off, but you want to write and solve an equation or an inequality for each situation. So we got to figure out, is it an equation or an inequality? So 18. 9 more than, and this is where we're just going to be like translating words into math. 9 more than twice Tim's age is the same as, guys, that tells me this is an equals sign. This is an equation. Just keep that in mind. 6 less than triple his age. How old is Tim? So question tells me T is my variable, Tim's age. All right, when I go to write my equation, I know it's an equal sign. On the left side, I need to translate that into math. On the right side, I need to translate that into math. So more than, that's not an inequality, that's just adding. Technically that goes backwards, so you can write it either way though. So watch, I'm gonna do 9 more than twice Tim's age. You're gonna multiply Tim's age by 2. Be aware that you can flip-flop that and write it like this. It doesn't matter if it's addition. It does matter when it's subtraction. So check out the other side. Is the same as, equals. Remember that key phrase less than. It goes backwards from what it looks like. It's subtraction. So 6 comes first. You actually have to write 6 at the end. Triple Tim's age would be 3t. So there's my equation. Now I just have to solve that for t. So let's come over here. Whoa. 2t plus 9 equals 3t minus 6. I'm going to subtract 2t. 9 equals, that's just 1t, so let me just put just t, and I'm going to write the 1. And then I'm going to add the 6 over. So good old Tim here. Tim is 15 years old. He's one of you. All right. On to the next one. Almost done here. Number 19. Suppose you earn $7.50 per hour. Per means multiply. So $7.50 per hour working part-time at a candy store. That's great. What's the possible number of full hours? Okay, that clues me in. This is like that rounding thing that we've been practicing. How many full hours do you have to work? You don't have time to work half hours or 15 minutes. You want to work full whole number hours. You want to make at least $220. This is an inequality. At the least, that's what I want to make. I'm going to be happy if I make over that, $250, $300. At the least, that's what I got to make. So question says, what are the possible number of hours? That's your variable. So let's write it. Total goes on one side. I want to make at least $220. On the other side, the 750's got to work in. I told you that that means multiply when it says per. So I make 750 per, multiply that by h. Now think about your inequality symbol. On the left where h is, that represents how much money you're going to make. I want to make at least $220. So I want to make more than $220 or exactly $220. So there's my inequality. Now I just have to solve it. Let's bring it up here. And it's a quick solve. I just divide by 750, but I already know it's going to be a decimal, and I'm going to have to think about rounding. So guys, when you do that in your calculator, it's 29.33333333, repeating, blah, blah, blah. So I either want to work 29 hours or 30 hours, at least. So, okay, which one would get me the job or get my job done, get me the money? If you round it down, which people will do because they're like, oh, it's 0.5 or less, so my rounding rules say round down. But if you round down, I mean, you're not going to make that money. I got to work at least 29 hours and a little bit more. Otherwise, I'm not going to hit my goal. So you do need to bump it up to 30. If you weren't totally sure why, you could always just like plug it back in. Let's say that, I'm going to test this out. Let's say I work 29 hours if I rounded it down. Well, put that in your calculator, do 29 times $7.50 and see, like, would you hit your goal? You wouldn't. You would make only $217.50, but I need 220. So you got to round it up. And I need to work at least 30 hours. We'll write it. So 30 hours, 31, 32, whatever. Anything more than 30 hours or equal to 30 hours, and I'm going to hit my goal of $220. All right, last question, finding the perimeter. So perimeter, remember, is when you add up all the sides. So you can either combine like terms right from the get-go if you feel like you're good at that and can handle it, or you can just say this plus this plus this. should be equal to the perimeter, which they tell me is 46. So that's my equation. This is an equation, not an inequality. The perimeter equals that. There's no greater than or any of that. I'm just going to go straight to combining like terms. So x's, there's 2, plus 3 more is 5, plus 1 more is 6 x's. And then the numbers, 3 plus 1 is 4. Subtract 4. 6x equals 42, and divide by 6. So x equals 7. All right, that is it.